pure, wholesome, and safe, just like Canada. Canada Dry ended up being very popular here during Prohibition because it masked the taste and smell of alcohol really well.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
Hey, it's George, and as promised, I'm back at St. Petersburg Antique Galleries. This is such a big mall with so many interesting things that I had to bring you another video because we didn't get to see all of it. And so this one, we're going to look around for interesting things to show, but also to see if there's anything that we can buy, because a lot of people are intimidated about going into an antique gallery or a high-end location like this, thinking that they just aren't going to be able to buy anything for resale. But that's not necessarily true. So we're going to take a look through this store to see what can we buy in a high-end antique gallery. So let's do it.
So one of the first things I do is look for something that's not exactly like the other things in the space. This space is not a kitchenware space, and yet here are these really neat looking 1930s pastel mixing bowls. My question is, who made them though? They look like Bauer's gloss pastel, but the bands are different, and Bauer didn't speckle those pieces back in the 30s. Their speckled wares were in the 50s, so we're going to have to take a look and see who made this to figure out the right value. And look, it's Pfaltzgraff. So Pfaltzgraff did this beehive shape set as well, and that's not something that I've come into very often, but I do know that there are collectors for these now. And I think that there's money to be made on these by splitting up the set and selling everything separately. I think you could at least double your money on this, so this is definitely a candidate to buy. And they would sure look good next to this chair. This is an Ames rocking chair. Ray and Charles Ames designed for Herman Miller and had their own studio and did really amazing work. This is a very famous modernist chair, but as soon as I touch it, I realize it's too lightweight to be an original. And darn, because it's really well priced and I wanted to buy it.
So the reproduction is marked at $149 and the original sells for several hundred minimum. Look at the screws. These require an Allen wrench or a hex wrench in this case. That is not the type of screw you would have had in the 1950s when this was done originally. So that is your clue to tell you that this is not the original. Also, it's quite a bit lighter than the original. You'll have to take my word for that because you're not here holding it.
One thing I look for when I'm in an expensive high-end place is stuff that maybe is a little out of fashion with collecting, because sometimes the dealers have just given up on it. This little guy was originally $55. He's Japanese from the 1930s. $55 is too much. They marked it to $45. That's too much. Now the whole booth is half off, and it didn't say excluding markdowns, so I guess that makes him $22.50. You couldn't sell him online for a profit, but I can take him to a show and make money, and I'm going to do that. Another thing that you can do when you're in a high-end antique store is look for things that are handmade and have a folk art aspect to them, because then there's not a comparable value. The value is just really up to the eye of the beholder. This particular piece, it's a little blocky. It was a talented amateur who made it. You can tell it wasn't a professional job, quote unquote, because things don't quite meet up in the design like you would expect. But it's got a star on the side. Now, stars sell well in Kentucky because people put metal stars on the sides of all the houses, and things with stars sell well in Texas. This may not be as much a Florida piece as for somewhere else. It's priced a couple of $100s, but that means that somebody in the right place might have room in this piece, because it might go for $350 or $400 in Texas, for example. We can date it because it's got masonite on the back. That was a popular thing to use after it came out in 1929. Up until about the early 1950s, it was a preferred backing for furniture. So this is going to date to the Art Deco period. It's got nice proportions. I think the contrast is good. And if I did shows in Texas, I would definitely buy this. Here's a very sweet little pig with a lovely hibiscus or something similar in her hair. This is made by Hull Pottery. You can pick it up and see on the bottom, and it's got a red slash, and in this booth that means it's half off. Half off of $65 makes it $32.50, and I have seen these sell between $65 and $85, so that is a winner, and I think she's very cute. They made a cat about the same time that was similarly adorned. These came out in 1955, and we definitely have a lot of people interested in cute ceramics from the 1950s, so I'm going to buy this one.
Then there's this, which at half price is $360, and that's a good price for these. These are open case clocks made in France, and you could also get them with a big wooden surround that they would set in, but some people just bought them and hung them on the wall like this. That large piece below is the pendulum. It serves as a weight as well. These are from about the 1870s typically.
When I see a rack covered with a bunch of random stuff that looks like it's been there a long time and is a little disheveled, I always take a look at the price on the rack, because sometimes that means that the rack has been there a long time, kind of forgotten, and people didn't think it was for sale or didn't notice it because they were looking at the stuff. This is a great rack too. Canada Dry 1920s, pure, wholesome, and safe, just like Canada. Canada Dry came out in 1890 and ended up being very popular here during Prohibition because it masked the taste and smell of alcohol really well. And so it became a big thing in the United States at that point. This rack is a little bit rashed, unfortunately. Otherwise, the $235 price might be affordable because they're hard to find. All right, that's about the neatest lamp I've seen in a long time. Look at the shade with the flowers printed on it. It's got the moon and the crescent and the stars. It's absolutely fab 50s at the height of 50s kitsch. I believe it's by Majestic, and it's wonderful. I can't afford it, but it's great. Here's a chance to do a little shopping for someone else. I have a friend who is really into dragons and has all sorts of dragon motif things, but she does not have a cabinet like this. It's lacquerware, and the way the lacquerware is done is somewhat similar to cloisonné with the enameling on metal vases and such. There's brass wire, which you can see is part of the design, as well as mother of pearl and tortoise shell. That tells you this is an older piece because we're not allowed to use tortoise shell in manufacturing anymore. One nice thing about this piece, and Asian pieces in general, this particular one is Korean, but they tend to be modular, so you see this as a box on a box. That's really great because if you are someone who may move from time to time because of career changes or life changes, or if you're someone who likes to redecorate your house a lot, these are nice pieces because they're easy enough for you to move even though they're substantial in size. One thing that makes this more interesting visually, to my mind, is the fact that the Korean culture has been inundated by various invasions from Japan and China, and so while they have their own rich history, they also borrow elements from all of the cultures, and it's an interesting blend. However, it's priced at about $2,400, so my friend will have to get that for herself. This piece, on the other hand, this hand-painted screen with the peacock, is really fun. It's another one of these things that's one of a kind. Someone painted it who is a talented amateur painter, and it is priced under $150. I think it could sell for $300 to the right person, so this may just have to go with me. One thing I like to spot are things I haven't seen before, and this bisque fellow who is the blacksmith with the forge is definitely something different, and he has that little metal piece behind him, so you would put some sort of a candle behind there, and that would be the forge and the light coming through. But what I really like are the chalkware pieces. This Native American with the lamp base is terrific. He's priced really well, but I see that he's broken at the knees and been re-glued. Chalkware is so fragile. So I guess he's going to have to stay here. Even though a lot fewer people bowl in leagues these days, bowling trophies have become more popular than ever, especially if they're vintage. This one's got this great deco arch at the bottom and 2 bowlers, and then the bowling pin up at the top there. Now, I can't quite read the tag, but I like to look for things with faded tags that have been ignored for a long time, because a lot of times a dealer will take an offer. I think that first number is an 8. If I could get this for 75, I'd probably buy it, so we'll give it a shot. I have always been really partial to these 1920s tiled tables that were popular in Florida and on the West Coast and other places that had this old Spanish trail architecture with stucco houses and such in the 20s. These tiles, we'll zero in on them a little bit here. These are likely to be Mexican. They're a little bit less refined and defined in the outlines than the California tiles. The California tables are worth more. They can sell for $250 and $300. But the Mexican one here is priced low enough that if the dealer will take my offer, I would definitely take that, because if I don't sell it in Florida, I can put this in a box and ship it on the plane for free. If you fly Southwest, you can ship a box that large. It's easy to get fooled now with so many reproductions of mid-century design. Home Depot sells little side tables that look sort of like this, but the reason we know this one's older is it's got the double chrome legs that cross. That would be more material than new companies use, because they're just trying for the look. They're not going to spend the money we did in the old days on it. In the United States, we think of Art Deco as being streamlined modernism with very simple designs. But the Art Deco movement, when it started in France, was coming out of Art Nouveau, and so you see a lot of stylized, very geometric, but floral designs like these in early Art Deco. This is a great metal smoking stand. I have not seen this piece before. I'm used to seeing the metal on the inside of a wooden case for a liner. Look at the legs and all of the detail. It's very pretty. It's priced at $235. If I sold at a high-end deco and modernism show, I might even consider making an offer on that. Where I sell, there's not room for it, but some high-end dealer out there somewhere probably could take this and make some money on it. It's really unusual.
So while I'm thinking of it, please comment in the space below here, and also hit the thumbs up button to like this video. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button below. Also hit the bell below to be notified of new videos coming every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And thank you so much for following along. Let's go back to this video.
Tim and Josie at Over the Years had a lamp like this a few months ago in one of their videos, and I have to admit I coveted it. I think these are beautiful with the 1930s deco base in iron, and then all these different colors of jadeite glass and the blue delphite, and the green, the transparent green may actually fluoresce. Tim's really big into uranium glass like a lot of people are, and I think he showed that some of that did fluoresce. It's priced at $135. If I had another show in Palm Beach, I'd take it. There's a crude old expression that says that someone who's really poor doesn't have a pot to, well, you know what in. And these are the pots they would have had if they had been able to afford one. These used to be a lot more collectible because they were parts of washstand sets, but a lot of people don't buy these now, and so the prices have really come down, but there are still collectors for them, and the designs are really cool. And yes, if you sterilize them, you can use them for other things. They're around $45 a piece. I've always thought that the secretary desk was such a great idea. I'm the guy who keeps a messy desk with a lot of paperwork, and I love the idea of folding the top and not having to have your work staring at you all the time. This one is very nice, and this is an example of something that's good to buy in Florida because the prices are cheaper here than they are in other parts of the country. This is oak. It's from about 1900, and I believe that they have this priced around $200. I have sold this same piece for $325 in Washington State, so there is some money in this, and desks are very popular right now. These are fun to buy because a lot of people don't know what they do, so they price them really cheaply. Let me show you what they do. These were often done for advertising, and this was for the local Tampa St. Pete TV station, WFLA, when it started. And it says, push the channel 8 button And this is what you do. You push the center and it becomes a note clip holder. So this was a desk accessory, and people love the 8-ball because of what it represents, priced at $24. The Scandinavians took staid and boring enamelware and turned it into really fun pop art and op art designs in the 1960s. Catherine Holm in Norway did the Lotus Bowls, but these are Kaj Frank, and he was a designer for Finell and for Arabia in Finland. The mushroom bowl is a classic. That one usually sells for over $100 now. This particular one, of course, condition is everything, seems to be in great shape, and it's priced about $75, which is a good deal. Not enough room for a reseller in my case, but really fun to see and a great buy for a collector. So I have a feeling those will get stashed up. I have always liked dealer plaques because there's fewer of them than there are the wares that they were meant to promote. And this one is Hager. Hager was very clever about their line that they did for their garden house pottery ware, which is this one. It's got that nice golden glow with the variegated orange glaze, but it has room for a business card and a pen. You'll see when we tip it over. There's where the business cards went, and then the pen went in the other side. This one's priced about retail. These go for about $30 or $35. I think in the future there'll be more. Here's something I like to buy. These usually sell for about $30 for me, and they're little rubber face Disney puppets and other characters. This one says Walt Disney Productions, so we know it's before the 1980s. And the main thing is that these be in good shape. People like their favorite characters and they're fun for display. Looks like his nose hasn't grown yet. That's good. And the eyes are not scratched. We'll take a look at Mickey here. Seems like the color is all there. You know, kids would chew on these, and so would the family dog. Oh, and here we have the big bad wolf. Arrgh. Very fearsome. I ended up buying all of these when I saw the price of $15 each. And I'm very happy that I did, because I don't own any of them anymore. Even little Audrey sold. I had forgotten about this character. It's certainly not the most beautiful doll, but somebody remembered little Audrey and thought it was fun. Some neat items in this space. I like this pedestal. This came out of a Bel Air, Florida estate. Bel Air is a wealthy enclave near St. Petersburg. Now this case I'll do a little shopping in while I'm here because everything is half off. These little ceramic pieces are actually British by Chelsea House. These are send-ups of pieces that were done in the Staffordshire era 100 years before, so I'm going to skip that part. The tray in the back, the oval, is Majolica. And this is going to be early 1900s, right when Majolica is starting to leave the market. But it has really bright, happy color. And it has an older mark. We can tell this is Zell, made in Germany. The Germans and the French typically did the animal type scenes. At half price at $62.50. Down on the bottom, the plate in the back is Limoges with the pheasants. The French urn on the left is a pretty piece, but it's more recent vintage, probably 1970s. But this one, you'll see the bee. This is a Napoleonic emblem that repeats throughout the history of French porcelain making. Pulibit is the mark, and this was based in Paris. So not Limoges, different part of France. After the Second World War, priced at $82.50 with the discount. It's hard to find bargains on mid-century modern and antique malls now because everyone's caught on to it, but I just wanted to show this space anyway because it's so colorful. I love the table. The cart here is plastic, actually. It's supposed to look like marble from the 70s. Green Blanco vase and then the striped chairs. Well, here's a deal that somebody got to before I did. Somebody paid, I believe, under $250 for this. Now, a lot of hall trees don't go for a lot more than that, but this one is really ornate. And the carving, even though it looks more like Black Forest walnut to the untrained eye, I believe this is based on English Jacobean court furniture from the 1600s. The little box on top is to keep your gloves or keys, since this was a hall stand in the foyer, and the open places are so that you can stick your umbrellas in. There's a tin liner underneath to catch the drips. And then this is one of the most unusual slot machines that I've ever seen. It's a Clover Bell. Bell was one of the big companies making slot machines after gambling became legal in the 30s in Nevada. It has both a 5-cent and a 25-cent coin insert, which is unusual and took a lot of extra mechanics. It's also unusual because the arm is on the front and it's an upright. Now, you still can find deals on mid-century modern in Florida, but people here have really caught on. These lucite lamps I used to be able to pick up for $50 and sell for 3 times that price. Now they're pricing at a few $100s generally, especially when you see a whole booth full. You know the dealer knows what they're onto. But this is a good way to look at things and figure out, that banana creature is strange, to figure out things that you could buy out in the wild if you saw them and what the prices should be. On the other hand, this is something that doesn't really fit this small, and it is a bargain. This is priced at $75. It is a carved Swedish monk's chair. Now, nobody is really sure why they call them monk's chair. There's very few monks in Sweden, and there are very few things to indicate that monks ever specifically use this style, but it has an austerity that I think led to the name. It's not the same as a birthing chair. A birthing chair would have an area cut out in the middle so the baby could be delivered, but it's a neat looking piece and a real bargain and would sell well out in Washington State, so I think I'm going to get it. This is the place that I need to spend some time. Everything on this table is half price, and that means there's going to be something here, so we're going to spend a little time with it. All the dealers have gotten together and put things out that they either got cheaply or they're tired of or for some other reason, and there's some good bargains here. This is a fun TV lamp. It's an odd shape and a funky color, but I like it. The nude lamp is also interesting. I see a piece of Majolica, and then here, this looks like Brad Keeler, and what a great color. Yep, it's got the mark on the back. There it is. And this looks like something worth buying. I think it's half of 24, so I think you're going to see me pick that up. I see other things on this table, too. This is going to be fun. There it is. And let's see what else we've got. The Gone with the Wind lamp is something I get them so easily in the Midwest that doesn't really interest me, although it's very cheap. It's only about $25, so you could sell that online and make money. Let's see what else we have. Mr. Bartender. I always like this old bar stuff. And half price on that. Yeah, that might be worth getting. It's not that people use these soda toppers anymore so much, but people just like the fact that it looks cool and is bartending related. This woven tray interests me. I see another Brad Keeler piece. Cool. Oh yes, that's definitely coming with me. Lobsterware does very well. Brad Keeler's was neat in the 50s. He was kind of taking up where they'd left off at the end of the Majolica era in the 19-teens. This is a Leitelier 3-position pole lamp. This one's in brown. I had a white one I just sold for $195. This one's priced at $100. They're going as high as $2.25 now. So this is a really good deal, and as long as everything works, I am going to get this because, like I said, I just sold one, so I know what the market is. It's nice when you find something you just sold while they're still hot. Doesn't always happen that way. Well, that was fun. We did get some buys, and we had a good time looking around at this great facility, and I'm just so glad to have you with me. I'm George the Antique Nomad, and I am on various social media, as you see below here. Please do subscribe, because that way you can click that bell and be notified of future videos. And if you like this video and you're a fairly new subscriber, hit that binge watch everything button in the playlist and you'll be able to see all sorts of great stuff from all over. In the meantime, please leave comments, share this with your friends, click the thumbs up button to like this video, and we will see you again soon here or somewhere in Antique Land, either in the real world or online. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community, here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, Click the bell to be notified when new videos upload. Leave a comment below and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.